All right, so today we're going to start with the gut-brain axis because I think it's just a truly beautiful way to explain how the gut impacts the body systemically. And I think it's a really great illustration of how essential it is for us to optimize not only our diet, but how we are digesting and absorbing the foods that we are putting within our mouths. So ancient wisdom states that all health and disease both start in the gut. So that's truly what I find to be true as a practitioner and as a mom of a child with a rare genetic disorder. Let me tell you, there is never a time that Remy will have seizures where he will not have some sort of gut disturbance and vice versa. And similarly, even if he just has a little too much sugar, I'm likely to start seeing some adverse behaviors from him. He might start hitting more or scratching. So it's really palpable. I'm really able to see it live action when it comes to my own kid. But you should also start looking at your kids, your family, and start checking in with yourself and seeing how you feel cognitively and emotionally after you're eating certain things. So we're going to go over the gut-brain axis both from the Eastern and the Western perspective. So first, starting with Chinese medicine, the gut is really powered by the spleen in our system. And there are arguments that maybe they really meant the pancreas, but we're just going to go with the spleen for now. Anyway, the spleen in Chinese medicine is in charge of processing both foods and emotions. So when you have spleen Qi deficiency, so a deficiency in the energy of your spleen, then you're likely to have loose stools. You might overthink things, worry. You might have that monkey mind insomnia where you get into bed, but you can't calm your mind. You might have a propensity to allergies. So those are really common. And I think it's also really fascinating that Chinese medicine was well aware of the connection between the gut and the brain thousands of years ago. I will side note that Western medicine is finally catching up, which is lovely. I love when they do that. Anyways, when it comes to the Western medical paradigm, there are three things that I want you to remember about the gut-brain axis. So one, we have the enteric nervous system. So this is a nervous system of various neurons that are located actually within the gut, and they communicate directly with our central nervous system. They can regulate hormones, neurotransmitters, all sorts of stuff, and they're providing direct impact to our central nervous system. So that's really cool, and that's where you get the idea of like the gut, your gut reaction to something. That's there. And often there's also this wonderful book, The Second Brain. So the gut is often referred to as the second brain as a result of this enteric nervous system. Second thing I want you to understand is that many of our neurotransmitters are actually made in the gut. So lots of estimates put the amount of serotonin made in the gut up to 90%. So serotonin, we all have heard of as a happy chemical molecule, and it's something that is often potentiated in SSRIs and different anti-anxiety, antidepressant meds. So serotonin, many people are familiar with, you know how important it is, but dopamine is also made in the gut, GABA, which is really essential, as is acetylcholine. So these are all critical neurotransmitters and chemicals that are essential for day-to-day function and optimization. So if your gut is inflamed and not functioning optimally, then you're going to have issues with all of those neurotransmitters, which is going to wreak havoc on how your brain is actually functioning day to day. The third is the vagus nerve. So many people have heard of the vagus nerve because it's sort of trendy these days. There's this guy, Stephen Porges, I have his book over there, and he created the polyvagal theory. So the vagus nerve can actually be used to help regulate seizures. It can help regulate cortisol. It's really great for managing stress. So it's the longest nerve in the body. It goes from the brain to the gut. And there are a lot of ways to support what we know as vagal tone. So it's basically strengthening your vagus nerve to impact your ability and your resilience to stress. So some of those things are humming, CBD, different types of meditation can really help support vagal tone. But basically what I want you to know about the vagus nerve is that it strongly affects your stress response, and then it goes directly from the gut to the brain. So again, we have this direct correlation between these two. So your homework for today, as you're thinking about this, is to start looking at yourself and your family and how you're feeling and how you're acting after you eat certain foods. So it's probably not going to be noticeable if you're eating the same things all the time, but check it out particularly if you binge on sugar one day or drink too much wine, or if your kids are having, something with different chemicals in it. It's really fascinating to watch the connection. And I think the more that you're aware of it, then the more you start moving in the direction of health. Because if we don't know what's going on, then we're not going to change anything. So that's your homework for today, and I will be back with the next video shortly.